The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu, and we got lots in store for you today, but first we got to get to my co-host and our guest for this evening. Andrew Brethauer, how are you?
Tired again. Just don't ask me to do anything heavy.
All right, no heavy lifting for you, but it's
lifting.
nice to actually have you here. Hopefully you'll be here in mind as well, and not just body. So we appreciate that, Andrew. Appreciate this man coming along. Of course, we're very excited, the city is, and of course the Bantam Triple A Heat are as well. The new head coach, Kirill Chikin, and I understand you have a unique, history, not necessarily from Canada, which I'll let you explain a little bit more for us.
Yeah, I came over from Russia about 9 years ago, got into school in Edmonton, so did my degree there and then got into coaching. Through mostly first did some camps with Igor Larionov, traveled a lot across Canada, went to Russia together, and then got into coaching in Edmonton, started coaching teams. And this summer got into Lloydminster talks and got the team, very happy about it, moved here in August.
Yeah, and we're pleased to have you here, my friend,
Thank
and
you.
pleased to have you on the show as well. We've
Thank
never
you.
had a Russian yet, so we're trying to get our international show, our show internationally. So it's one step ahead. That's what we do here on The Gloves Are Off. But how about this? We'll kick it off more so a little bit closer to North America, and that, of course, is the bizarre twist that's happened to the Chicago Blackhawks forward Patrick Kane. Of course, the saga with the trial was supposed to be a trial, looked like it was going to be a for sure thing with a grand jury, has now hit a bit of a turn, much like a soap opera, and it doesn't really seem like this is real at all. And of course, we're talking about the alleged rape kit that was delivered to the accuser's mother's home. This was tried. Obviously, they had a big, huge press conference with this, with the district attorney. Now, the prosecutors, the lawyers for the victim's side, they have now dropped, or they have left the case, that is. It's still ongoing. But what do you make of this whole thing? And of course, for Patrick Kane, it's got to be certain relief for him. And Kirill, I want to give you this question to kind of kick us off. What do you make of the whole situation right now?
I honestly think just the fact that he's in the camp, Chicago feels confident to bring him in, and that they haven't pulled him out still. I think he'll be fine. By this time, we would have probably known more if he's getting charged or not. So I really feel like the NHL and Chicago Blackhawks know that he's okay, he's good to go, and he'll be playing to start the season next week.
Andrew, and you made a great point, Kirill. Andrew, what do you think of this? If he does, if he still gets charged for whatever reason, he still gets charged, should he still be able to remain at the Blackhawks camp?
I think they need to pull him out. Someone needs to pull him out. Either he needs to pull himself, Blackhawks need to pull him, because you don't need that much distraction. And with no other way to put it, a gong show that was last week, the distractions that are going to come from that, if you get charged and then now going through all that, I think you have to pull him out, if not only to save your own face. And I mentioned it last week that the Blackhawks are the best PR team in the league. They know how to run their organization and keep everyone on the straight. And you have this in there, it's a PR nightmare. And what's going to happen when they come out? If they come out slow to the gate, well, Kane's the reason. It's a slow start because of this. You don't need that. So I'd say if he gets charged before the season, put him aside, let him deal with it, just like every other else. Like Voinov's kind of the same way I've mentioned before. Stoll's the same way. Solve the legal problems and then get back into it, because you don't need that distraction for the rest of the team.
All right, guys, let's move on to something a little bit closer here in the border city. And of course, this is going to be the most highly touted game for the Bobcats this season thus far. I know it's early, 7 games in, but they're 7-0. They are one of 2 teams that are undefeated in the AJHL. The other team, the Spruce Grove Saints, who come visit the border city tonight. Do the Bobcats have a chance to win? And when you look at the team defensively, they're the best team in the league. It's always going to help you, but you lose your goaltender, your top goaltender, Alex Leclerc. Now you have a kid, a 17-year-old in Pierce Diamond, who's a pretty good prospect, but now he's got to fill in those shoes for Mr. Leclerc. Can they do that with all the offensive firepower that Spruce Grove has? Andrew?
They can if they don't shoot themselves. And that's kind of you probably as a coach know this. You start putting yourself in the box, this is not a team you do that. Like, Spruce Grove is dominant, and like, you don't say about a lot of teams, but they are absolutely dominant. When it comes to power play, they're even better. So if they do that to them, they give them opportunities, that's what's going to decide this game. If they can keep their calm, keep their heads, and then they have the great defense. Diamond's a good goalie. Let's give him that. Like, it's not going to be something I don't think they have to worry about. It's what they do on their own side, what they're going to do, throwing themselves in the box that's going to decide this game.
Yeah, I think they can. I agree with you. He's a good goalie. And yeah, he's 17 years old, but he's a very good goalie. And I think in this situation, they got a great start. There's a little bit less pressure on him because he doesn't have to do anything outstanding. They already had a great start. At the same time, when you lose that number one goalie, you star goalie, the team, it's up to the players to support young kid, to play for him, do some block extra shot maybe, and just show the support they have for that 17-year-old kid in the net.
Do you think that he will actually perform well tonight? I'm not saying he can't, but you're facing the top team in the league, offensively, statistically. Power play, they have the number 2 ranked power play, second behind Okotoks. And like you said, if they shoot themselves in the foot, that's a lot you're asking for, in my opinion, just a kid. Not necessarily, I'm not talking about his skill level, but in terms of experience, I think that's going to be a little troubling, will it not?
Nelson mentioned too that Spruce isn't just the best in the league; they're best in the country. The rankings came out and they're number 1. So this is not a team to look lightly on.
So even that's more pressure on the kid.
More pressure. But if you can't get up for those games, especially this year and what this means to you, then that's what I'd be more worried about. If you can't get up for this game and to play your best game and you fall flat, then when Leclerc comes back, do you then start thinking about, do I need to bring someone else in to fill that void? Because what if Leclerc goes down during the RBC Cup or during the playoffs? Are you going to feel confident putting a goalie that maybe can't handle that kind of pressure? I think Diamond will be fine. I'm not saying he won't. I think he'll be fine. But if in the regards he doesn't, then you got to start thinking, do we bring someone else in?
Win or loss, if he performs well in the next stretch here, I think they'll be okay in terms of needing that backup goalie. So this is going to be a good test to see where he is in his level. Does he need to go down, or will he stay with the team? How about this? You talk about the best in the nation. We only have one baseball team here in Canada, of course, the Toronto Blue Jays. Over the last, say, 50, 60 games, they have been out of this world. The acquisition of Troy Tulowitzki was awesome. But for Jays fans, I think seeing David Price on the mound, a true number 1 ace, has really galvanized this team, galvanized the city, galvanized a country. With that said, will their dominance the second half of this year translate into the playoffs for the Blue Jays?
I think can. I'm personally very excited to watch, and hopefully they play Royals in the playoffs after all the regular season stuff that happened. But I just think they have very young pitching staff that might hurt them. All the guys are inexperienced, and they have Asuna closing, who is a very young pitcher. Stroman is doing well; he's back, but again, very young guy. So lack of experience in pitching might hurt them, but offense will produce, and I think they have a good shot making World Series. Yeah.
I think it's the offense. That's what we've always talked about. This team's built for offense, and that's the question. Are they going to be able to do that against the best pitchers every single night in a playoff atmosphere? I think they have so many weapons. I don't think you're going to have the problem with it. It's just someone's going to have to pull up and someone's going to have to do some work. The pitching's the question. Can that, other than Price, can someone else go out there and win a game 2, win a game 3, win a game 5, 6, and 7? That's the ones they're going to be worrying about. So I think they'll be fine. I don't think it will matter who they play because it's just everyone's so excited to be back in the playoffs. And I think more than that, the Blue Jays themselves are more excited to be back in the playoffs. So I don't think it cares who they play at all.
Really? You see that? You don't think there's a team that they look on that sheet and they're like, that's a divisional series game that we want to play. We want to play the Yankees, or we want to play Houston. I'm just going by the current standings. Or perhaps you look, Serge, maybe the Angels will sneak in, and maybe even Texas. You wouldn't think that they're like, that's the team I want to see first.
I don't think anyone scares them. If you looked over the last 60 games, they've beaten all these teams. It's not like they've been, yes, they've had back and forth to the Yankees. They've had back and forth to everyone. That's baseball. They haven't been blown out by these teams. They've actually blown out those teams. So I think they're going to be confident. You're the best team in the American League. No one should scare you. You should be going in there thinking we can beat everybody.
Okay.
I agree. I think all other teams are looking at Blue Jays thinking we don't want to play them, but Blue Jays themselves, I think they're pretty confident to play any team in the season. They
All
played
right.
beat in the season.
We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we're going to still stick with the theme of baseball, guys. And I'm talking about Pete Rose. Will he be reinstated and perhaps make Cooperstown once and for all? Stay tuned.